Raw emotion filled the room when P. Diddy stepped forward to confess in church, fighting every instinct to keep his pain locked inside. Years of secrets, pressure and pride reached a breaking point as he faced the priest, searching for a lifeline he'd never known he needed. This wasn't a show for the cameras or a carefully planned statement. It was one man in crisis, desperate for forgiveness and ready to let go of old wounds. In this unforgettable moment, P. Diddy risked everything to bare his soul. Creative story lovers, prepare to witness a rare kind of honesty. The drama is real, the stakes are high, and the outcome will change P. Diddy, possibly forever. P. Diddy faces his sins, the weight before the confession. Before P. Diddy uttered a single word to the priest, the air in the church was thick with tension. For someone used to commanding stages and living life in the spotlight, being alone with his thoughts was a challenge. On that quiet day, the pews felt colder, and the space between him and the altar seemed endless. The church, with its simple wood and flickering candles, became more than a backdrop. It was a mirror reflecting his regrets. The church as a place of reckoning. Inside the church, there were no cameras, no crowds yelling his name. Only the muted echo of quiet prayers and the low, steady voice of the priest waiting to listen. The familiar trappings of fame faded away, replaced by stained glass and soft light. It was humbling. Diddy sat at the edge of the pew, his hands twisting together, unable to settle. Every deep breath caught in his chest. He glanced around, searching the ceiling, the walls, even the pattern in the old wooden floor, looking for some comfort but finding none. Wrestling with the past, P. Diddy's mind ran wild in those tense minutes before he spoke. He replayed old decisions, some careless, others done out of pride or fear. With no one to impress or defend himself to, the truth of his choices cut deeper than he expected. He felt vulnerable for the first time in years. Gone were the quick excuses and armor built from success. Memories came fast and messy. Shattered friendships he never mended. Words spoken out of anger, never taken back. Opportunities for kindness missed because he was too busy proving himself. Each memory felt like a weight on his chest, tension and nervous energy. Physically, Diddy could not keep still. His heart pounded so loudly that he half expected the priest to mention it. Sweat cooled his forehead while he wiped his palms on his jeans, trying to collect himself. The quiet in the room made every sound, his breath, his sigh, the ticking of a faded clock seemed louder. He knew that whatever came next would leave him changed. Pride fought with fear, and regret pressed in from every side. He wondered how confession could possibly undo the things hanging over him. The priest's quiet presence. The priest waited with patience, a silent figure in a plain robe, eyes kind and gentle, not judging, just waiting. That silent patience felt both comforting and intimidating, like a reminder that here every word mattered. For the first time, Diddy had to face his own voice. No background noise, no distractions, just a private, sacred space where secrets could either stay buried or be given enough air to finally breathe. The church, in that moment, was both a courtroom and a hospitaller place where old wounds could be named. Maybe forgiveness could finally begin. P. Diddy's emotional confession. Words from the heart. When P. Diddy opened his heart in confession, he didn't hold anything back. His voice trembled at first, but the weight of his secrets demanded more than whispers. Raw honesty poured out in waves, each word a step closer to the truth he'd hidden for too long. Listeners could feel the pain in his tone, a man trying to make peace with himself as much as with the world. His confession was not just a list of wrongs. It was a window into his soul, one lined with old regrets, fresh wounds, and flickers of hope. Diddy's words echoed in the quiet room, his spirit shaken by memories he could no longer ignore. Confession of neglect. Forgetting the poor. Diddy's first admission cut deep. He had forgotten those who live in the shadows, left behind as he built his own fortune. Shame washed over him as he recalled moments when his heart should have acted, but his mind turned away. He spoke of charity galas and public donations, but confessed those were not enough. Most of all, he grieved the moments he ignored the true needs of others, not just with money, but with compassion. His words pressed against the walls, heavy and cold. He remembered children he had seen in the street, old friends who asked for a hand, and communities struggling while he lived in comfort. "I looked away when I should have reached out," he admitted, voice shaking with regret. Guilt showed in his posture and in the breaks between sentences. Diddy described his neglect not as a single decision, but as small choices that added up. Each time he picked self-interest over kindness, he built a wall between himself and a world that needed his help. He felt haunted by faces he'd forgotten but now saw clearly. He admitted his generosity often served his image more than those truly hurting. He wished for another chance to give, not just with money, but with his heart. His confession was more than words. It was an open wound, searching for healing and a promise to remember the poor. Neglecting faith, turning away from the Lord. In one of his most vulnerable moments, Diddy admitted he had pushed his faith to the background. He saw how pride and comfort dulled his spirit, leaving him disconnected from the values he once held dear. Feelings of guilt pressed down with every memory of mornings he skipped prayer and nights spent chasing something other than peace. He bowed his head, unable to meet the priest's eyes, as he spoke of trading faith for fleeting pleasure. "I chased dreams that left me empty," he whispered. "I believed in myself, but forgot to believe in something bigger." This wasn't just a celebrity grappling with fame, it was a soul aching for meaning. Diddy described how success built a wall, making it easy to justify choices and ignore what his heart knew was right. The heavy weight of his confession was clear. He missed the calm that once came from believing, from feeling grounded in something outside himself. Turning away from faith left him lonely, even in the biggest crowds. Confession brought him face to face with a deep sense of loss, not just of rituals, but of trust and hope. Each sentence gave voice to the emptiness he carried. He wanted forgiveness, of course, but more than that, he wanted to reconnect with the sense of purpose that anchored him before life moved too fast. Desires over duty. Loving beer and money more than values. Diddy's next admission came with a hard laugh and a sigh. He spoke honestly about times he put pleasure and wealth first, letting beer and money fill gaps that faith and family once held. He didn't make excuses. Instead, he painted a clear picture of temptation-lay nights, wild parties, deals that never seemed enough. In the glow of fame, priorities slipped. Sometimes I loved the wrong things. Sometimes beer was easier than prayer, and money seemed like it could fix every problem. Diddy's words rang true because they were free from excuses. He named the truth, raw and simple. He broke it down with honesty. He let himself be carried away by comfort and quick rewards. He chased pleasure instead of facing pain or difficulty. He lost sight of deeper joy, traded for moments of distraction. These confessions were more than stories. They were warnings to anyone who has ever let a moment of pleasure replace long-term purpose. Diddy's voice was low but firm, admitting the guilt weighed more than any party or paycheck ever could. He looked back, knowing those choices cost him more than he realized. The room held silence, as if both priest and penitent needed a pause to absorb it all. Diddy's hope, unspoken but clear, was for a chance to live by his values again, to seek fulfillment in something greater than himself. These emotional admissions showed not just regret, but a flicker of resolve. Diddy's journey toward forgiveness would not be easy, but confession was a start. Each word shaped his path forward, inviting reflection and real change. The power of forgiveness, the priest's response. Confession is raw and nerve-wracking, but it's what follows that can change a life. As Diddy shared his most private regrets, every listener felt the gravity of that quiet moment. The church, so silent just minutes before, grew heavy with both tension and hope as the priest prepared to respond. Forgiveness is never simple, but in that space, it felt real and possible. Words of absolution. Your sins are forgiven. The priest listened without rush or judgment. Every word Diddy uttered, every admission heavy with years of regret, was met with a sense of gentle care. When Diddy finished, his voice cracked, and the pain in his eyes was clear. The priest looked him in the eye, and in a calm, steady voice declared, "Your sins are forgiven." It wasn't just routine, it was a release. In that moment, the deep ache Diddy carried seemed to lift. Tears fell freely. But now they held more than sadness, they dripped with relief. The weight that had pressed against his chest and blurred his vision felt lighter. The words, simple yet profound, cut through the noise of self-doubt and shame. A lifetime of mistakes answered with a promise of mercy. A simple phrase, turning regret into hope. The heavy air replaced with a lightness even the strongest could feel. For Diddy, the burden he brought into the church loosened with each syllable. The priest's declaration didn't erase the past, but it made facing tomorrow less daunting. A new beginning. Hope and redemption awakened. As the echo of forgiveness filled the room, Diddy's shoulders relaxed. His breath slowed. It was the kind of peace that sinks in after a long storm, real, earned, and fragile. He knew life wouldn't instantly become easy, but now he had something he hadn't felt in years. This moment moved something inside him. Instead of replaying old mistakes, he let the priest's words take root. That's the quiet power of forgiveness. It doesn't just wipe the slate clean, it gives you a new one. Diddy could finally imagine a future where he was more than his worst choices. The room, which once felt like a prison, became a place of freedom. He walked out with traces of a smile, small but growing. Peace settled in, an old fears. In the eyes of the priest, Diddy wasn't just forgiven. He was free to begin again. Forgiveness didn't fix everything, but it made anything possible. Diddy's confession wasn't just about cleaning the slate. It was a powerful act of courage. He came face to face with the pain of his past, and through honest words and real acceptance, found space for healing. Forgiveness in that quiet church sparked more than relief. It gave him a second chance, both in his own eyes and for those who watched. His journey shows that even the deepest regret can lead to hope. Change doesn't begin with perfection, but with truth. As Diddy walked away renewed, the moment invited all of us to consider what we can release from our own hearts. Thanks for joining this story. If it moved you, reflect on where you might find forgiveness or offer it